Well now, having dealt with some of the more permanent features, let's give the ladies a turn. They, bless them, frequently do a large proportion of the work. Annuals are just the plants for anybody wanting a gay display quickly. Within a few weeks, they can transform a bare patch into a kaleidoscope of colour. Here are some suggestions from Frances Perry.
As most people know, annuals are plants which complete their life cycle in one season. The seed is sown, they flower, and they die. A short life, but a gay one, for the blossoms are brilliant, often fragrant, and lavishly produced. For carpets of colour in a brand new garden, for gay window boxes, cut blooms for the house, or bright between-season patches in the shrubbery or herbaceous border, annuals have no equal. They're easy to grow, the seed is cheap, and the returns are sure. They have a place, in fact, in every garden. Books on annuals or seedsmen's catalogues usually list 3 seasons of sowing. Whether you adopt one or all of these methods depends on personal preference, when there is most time for seed sowing, also on the type of plant grown, and the facilities available for raising plants under glass. Annuals come from every country in the world, so it's hardly surprising that some are hardier than others. There are even degrees of hardiness. Marigolds, esculches, sweet peas, gypsophila and gaditias, for example, can be sown outdoors in autumn and brave all the trials of winter. By spring they will have made nice little plants, which are naturally larger and flower earlier than seeds sown outside in April. But others, such as sweet sultan, cornflowers, annual chrysanthemums, clarkia, linarias and nasturtiums, only withstand a slight amount of frost, and should be sown outside in the places where they are to flower towards the end of March or early in April. By then the worst of the winter will be over. Half-hardy annuals are raised under glass between February and April and put outside as plants when there is no more danger from frost. This will be about the end of May in southern England, the first week in June in the north. China asters, tagetes, nicotiana, nemesia and petunias are typical examples. Tender annuals are for greenhouse cultivation and spend all their life under glass. They include such well-known plants as schizanthus, cinerarias and various primulas. Before sowing seed outdoors, the ground must be thoroughly prepared. Annuals require plenty of sun and a fertile but not over-rich soil. Light soils give better results than heavy ones, so if you garden on clay, lighten the texture with peat, fine ashes, grit or leaf soil. The bed should be well dug and manured during the previous autumn or winter. Just before sowing, rake the ground to a fine tilth. Do this twice, from north to south and from east to west, removing any large stones or debris. For cut flowers or plants for lifting, sow in straight lines. In mixed borders, better results, however, are achieved by keeping each variety separate, in a small patch of irregular shape. These patches must have their areas defined beforehand, either by marking them out with a pointed stick or by outlining them with sand. Drills can be drawn inside each of these with a stick and the seed sown very thinly. 1/2 inch deep is sufficient for most varieties. Cover with a dusting of topsoil, lightly press down the surface and give a gentle watering if the soil seems dry. Thin early if you want good plants, and stake if necessary. The thinning distances are usually given on the seed packets, and are normally about 6 inches for plants which grow less than a foot high, 9 inches for 18-inch to 2 feet plants, and 12 to 15 inches for anything taller. When it comes to sowing under glass, seed can be sown in pans, pots or boxes, but these must be clean. Provide crocks or other drainage if you're using soil compost. Fill the container to within 1 inch of the top. Press to firm it nicely and leave a level surface. Sow the seed very thinly, or mix it with dry silver sand if you're heavy-handed, and sprinkle a sifting of dry soil over the top. Label the pot and water it by standing it in a shallow bowl of water, leaving it there until the topsoil looks moist. Keep the pots in a closed propagating frame until the seed germinates, or lay glass over the tops to keep the soil from drying out. The temperature should be around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. When the seedlings come through, remove the glass, water when necessary, and prick the young plants out into boxes of similar compost when they're large enough to handle. They should be about 2 inches apart. Gradually move the plants to cooler positions and plant them outside the end of May. Many gardeners have their own pet composts. I use 3. John Innes seed compost is one, and it's made up from a widely recognised formula and can be bought ready prepared from most garden stores. Levington compost contains no loam, so doesn't easily dry out, and for the man who likes to mix his own, I recommend the 1-1-1 compost. This contains equal parts of coarse sand, sifted loam and peat, mixed and moistened so that it binds in the hand when you squeeze it, but breaks to pieces when thrown up into the air. Annuals in the garden give the greatest possible value for money. New varieties come along each year, so the position is always changing. For really large flowers, try the F1 hybrids. The results repay the little extra cost. But remember, you can't save your own seed from these varieties. It has to be bought afresh each season.
Frances Perry adding her own charm to the other voices, telling us how to bring colour to our gardens. Well now, perhaps you'd like to have a break for coffee or something, huh? But you can hear about roses, the lawn, fruit and vegetables on the other side of this record.